Greetings and welcome to Causeless Joy Tarot. I am Glory, the Golden Light Goddess, and I am here today to do a general reading for the sign of Leo for the month of May 2018. Today I will be using two decks. The first is the main deck by Morgan Greer Tarot, and then I'll be drawing one guidance card from the Chakra Insight Oracle deck by Karen Sangster. So let's go ahead and get started now with your reading, Leo, for the month of May. So we're starting out with the overall energy card here, which is the Queen of Swords, which we have coming in the reverse. These cards were drawn at the beginning of the year, and they represent the overall energy in each month for 2018. Now, the Queen of Swords in the reverse is about being overly critical of yourself or other people. It also speaks to a mental fog, not being clear, because when we see this Queen of Swords coming up in the upright, she's all about clarity. She's able to clear out any mental fog and move forward with confidence and grace. But when we see it in the reverse, as I mentioned there, it was being overly critical of yourself or other people and having that mental fog. Now, the Queen of Swords in the reverse could also speak to some fertility issues. So if you are dealing with some fertility issues there, that is also indicated by the Queen of Swords coming up in the reverse. Alright, so let's go ahead now and get the cards shuffled out for the May reading. Calling on my guides, spiritual teachers, angels, helpers, all that loves and surrounds the sign of Leo. Asking for guidance, clarity, vision, and wisdom as we look at the energies coming in for the beautiful sign of Leo in the month of May 2018. Giving thanks in advance for perfect clarity, vision, and wisdom. Thank you to the angels for always providing a loving circle of light around these readings. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alright, also if you know your rising sign or your moon sign, I encourage you to take a look at those readings as well for any additional clarity. Asking for 5 cards with the highest guidance for the sign of Leo for the month of May 2018. 5 cards that represent the highest guidance for Leo, May 2018. All right, Leo. There we go. That feels pretty good for Leo. So let's go ahead and cut the cards and see what we have in store for the sign of Leo for May. All right. So we're working with 5 cards in addition to the bonus card for the overall energy. We have your internal power. We have your abundance card, romance, your challenge card, as well as your final outcome card. So let's take a look now and start right here with the internal power card. Here's a very interesting card for an internal power. This card speaks of heartbreak, and Spirit has come in very clearly with the message already for this particular card and how it could possibly be an internal power. What Spirit has given me for this is that some Leos have experienced tremendous heartbreak. I mean, there's such a heaviness involved with this card. As soon as I picked it up, I could feel the heaviness, and instantly I received the message with this card as well. Now, a heartbreak can come from many different sources. It could be the result of a breakup, maybe a loss, a death of a loved one, loss of a job or income. Something has happened in the not too distant past for Leos that was just a major, massive heartbreak for you. What Spirit wants you to know is that that energy is being transmuted. The energy of the heartbreak is being transmuted and being reassigned to you as a powerful, powerful energy. What comes up is, you hear statements like, without a trial, there can be no testimony. Without having gone through something, no pain, no gain. These are the sayings that are flooding my mind right now. And this heartbreak that some Leos have experienced, the heartbreak itself is being transmuted. And again, it's being reissued as strength because of how you move through that heartbreak, is what Spirit wants you to know. Because you stood in the face of adversity, you stood in the face of doubts and worries, and you kept going. There may have been instances where you faltered in some way. Maybe you weren't 100% strong every single day on that journey through that pain. And that's not what this is about. This is not about you being strong through it. The fact that you made it through it, and that you may have this residual pain or this residual energy. And Spirit absolutely wants you to know that that is being transmuted. It's being reworked and reissued to you as favor. And that is a beautiful message. It is a beautiful message from Spirit that I'm receiving as we speak. That this heartbreak that you've endured is now ready to become your trophy, your strength. And that's absolutely beautiful. It's of course, if we had to choose, if we had the option to choose whether or not we would go through this type of heartbreak, we would probably choose the lesser road. We would choose to avoid this type of situation. But Spirit says that this was your destiny to experience this heartbreak. It was your destiny. And not only it was your destiny because of what it ultimately will cause you to grow into, because this energy is being transmuted. All right, and I'll let that go for now and move on. But that was a very clear and distinct message that came through with that Three of Swords heartbreak card in your internal power. All right, so let's move on to your abundance card now. Here we have the High Priestess. All right, the High Priestess is a major arcana. She is all about intuition. She's all about relying on your internal GPS to guide you where it is you need to go. And this is coming up in the abundance sector. So when it comes to manifesting financially, there is a need for you to rely heavily on that mental intuition, on that spiritual intuition, not the mental thing, because sometimes when we get involved with that mental stuff, it gets muddied up with the good and the bad, the critical and the positive. We want this spiritual intuition to guide us. And as long as we're relying and looking to this spiritual intuition, we will be guided in a direction, in a way that fully allows that the healing and the blossoming that is resulting from this heartbreak, that will be allowed to come through and manifest in a very powerful, clear, and direct way. All right. So very important for Leos in the month of May to tap into this internal signal. All right. Next up, we have the romance area. And here we have the Two of Swords coming up in the reverse position. Upright, the Two of Swords is about compromising or balancing two different forces. When we see the Two of Swords coming up in the reverse, it's about indecision, confusion, compromising in a way that's not beneficial to you. So this is in your romance area. So there may be a need to really closely evaluate, perhaps even use this internal intuition that is this energy that's up and available for you in the month of May to help you to make, quell any confusions that may come up between you and your mate over the next month. To really, what I'm picking up is there may be a little bit more effort required on your part. As Leos, we have this tendency, we're fire signs, so we're very quick to action. And maybe in the month of May, as it relates to your romantic relationship, in order to keep confusion down, in order to manage that indecision that you may be dealing with, it'll be necessary for you again to focus on your internal and maybe not on taking as many actions as you would typically take, because this Two of Swords in the reverse is really speaking to confusion and indecision as it relates to your relationship. This could also mean that you're in the process of making a decision about whether to stay or go. You could be dealing with some level of confusion there as to whether this relationship is the right thing for you to be doing. It could be that you're having trouble deciding whether or not you want to stay or go. But, I'm certainly not here to tell anyone to stay or go. That choice remains and rests solely with you. But weigh your options, and most definitely rely on that internal intuition. As I always like to say, if it feels light to you, then it's right for you. If it feels heavy and yucky and gray, then it's probably not in your best interest right now. The body has a way, they have that what is it called when they muscle testing. Yes, it's called muscle testing when they when you get a physical response from a question that you've asked, your body is physically responding without any of your conscious efforts. Your unconscious body is responding to stimulus. So it's that way here too. You know, we're unconsciously responding to what's going on around us all the time. So it'll be important for Leos to get really clear as they possibly can, by relying on this internal intuition to guide you when it comes to making decisions, especially around your relationships. All right, so next up we have your challenge card. Another very interesting card for Leos here. We have the Ace of Cups coming in as a challenge card. All right, aces are about new beginnings. This could also mean a new baby, a new relationship, a marriage even. But this is presenting as a challenge for Leos. So there could be a need to, in order to get this confusion, because I was picking up confusion and indecision here in a relationship, and it could be that that confusion is related to some sort of new start. You know, there's a new start that'll present a challenge for you, and this new start has an emotional tie to it, right? A new baby, a new relationship, a new job, some sort of newness is coming in, but this new thing will somehow present present a challenge, or will be challenging for you to work through. For some of you, you know, of course, these are general readings, so it doesn't apply to everyone or every situation, but there may be something new that's starting that, you know, you want to be aware that there's the potential for a challenge in that particular area. All right, so as your final outcome card, wow, you know, I've really done over half of my readings for the month of May, and seriously, several readings came out with at least two twos, and Leo is no different this month. As your final outcome card, you have another two coming in, the Two of Cups in the reverse. All right, the Two of Cups reverse speaks of a challenge in a partnership. We also saw here, it's interesting that your relationship card was also the two reverse, the Two of Swords reverse, indicating indecision or confusion. There's also some sort of breakdown here, and it's not clear at this moment if this breakdown is a casual related. I'm drawn more to the romantic side because of the Two of Swords that came out in the romance area, so I'm drawn there. There's something going on, there's a challenge that you may be faced with, and it's interesting, right next to your challenge card is this new start. You know, so if you are venturing into a new relationship, if you are starting a new relationship, there's something that you need to really question there. There's it's presenting as a challenge. That new start is presenting itself as a challenge. And then as your final outcome card, you have a challenging partnership here. So some sort of connection where you're finding yourself either in a challenging situation, or feeling as if things aren't going as smoothly as possible. We love to see this Two of Cups coming up in the upright. This is absolutely the preferred way that we like to see this card coming in, because it signifies a very strong relationship, a strong bond, a strong connection. Again, when we see that in the reverse, it would be just the opposite of that, where you're having to work through challenging energy as it relates to your connection with that individual. Again, I'm very much feeling like this Ace of Cups as a challenge, which represents a new venture, a new emotional thing If you are in the process of starting a new relationship, take it slow. Take it slow. Ask good questions. Go deep so that you're not caught off guard, or you're not dealing with this, challenging connection that we're noting here as your final outcome card. All right, so that does conclude the reading for the sign of Leo for the month of May. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your final outcome card. Calling on my guides, angels, teachers, and helpers, all that loves and surrounds the sign of Leo, asking for one additional guidance card to close out the reading for the sign of Leo for the month of, right there. I was going to take the other one, but it felt like two, and this one was standing out on its own, so I jumped there. All right. Perfect. Oh, perfect, Leo. Take a look at that. Trust, insight, awareness, guidance, intuition. It's going to be a vital player for you, Leo, in the month of May. Whenever you get those intuitive hits where for me, if it usually comes when I'm not, if I get an intuitive hit, it looks like, here's something that I haven't had a thought about. It's different if you're focusing on something. You get all kinds of thoughts that come in to marry with the thoughts that are already there. But if you're not thinking about something and boom, you get this awesome idea out of nowhere, that enters your mind, that's something that you may want to give some credence to there. Intuition is going to be key for Leos in working in through this challenging energy of the Two of Cups coming up in the reverse as your final outcome card of a challenging new start that may present a challenge for you. Also with the indecision and confusion that was noted here in your relationship sector, your intuition is going to play a critical role for you in the month of May with helping you to really work through that energy. Now, we also talked about that Queen of Swords being in a mental fog or being really critical of yourself or others. Another excellent reason to move away from that type of thinking and relying more heavily on this internal GPS, right? So you see the words here on this card. They say trust, insight, awareness, and guidance. Trust that you're being guided at the right place at the right time all the time, that you're never somewhere that you're never doing something or saying something. Trust that you're always in the right place at the right time, and trust that the information that comes to you in a very light and loving way is there to assist you on your path. All right, so that is it for the sign of Leo for the month of May 2018. Thank you for joining me this month, and I look forward to seeing you again in June. Namaste.